Every time we recite the Creed, we remind ourselves that the Christian faith has been built up on the foundation of historical facts. The center of our religion is the person of Christ, and we locate him by saying he was crucified under Pontius Pilate. He died during the term of office of a particular civil servant in Roman Palestine whose name we can provide. The Church is passionately interested in his historical concreteness, in the circumstances of his mission. That's not surprising, because if he is the Word incarnate, then we need access to his concrete historical reality in all its circumstantial character, so as to find out what the God he embodied is like. And this brings us then to the very important opening section of today's Gospel. St. Luke sets out for us the basis of his historical research. He had no university library or national archives at his disposal, so he practiced what today is known as oral history. He had recourse to living documents, to those who, as he says, from the beginning were eyewitnesses and ministers of the word. In other words, to those who had experience of Christ, having seen him, heard him, and touched him. In other words, then, he collected the facts. Naturally, these facts are offered along with an account of their significance. St. Luke then will select from the facts available to him so as to present the figure of the Lord in a particular perspective. This is the so-called orderly account that he proposes to give the dedicatee of his gospel book, presumably a high-ranking inquirer into Christian claims. That's Theophilus. The facts themselves, however, are waiting to be chosen, waiting to be related in interesting ways to each other, to the Old Testament, and to the experience of the Church. But the Church has 4 of these gospel books precisely because she knows that the evangelists also have their own perspectives, none of which would suffice on its own. No single orderly account would give the total truth about Jesus Christ. Why? Because whereas his humanity is finite, limited, like yours and mine, that humanity of his, and this isn't true of us, has invested in it, within it, an infinite, unlimited reality. The Son of God, not created but generated, loved into being before all worlds, God from God, light from light, through whom all things were made, he it was who took to himself a human mind and body, expressing his own divine person in the structures of a human psyche, a human personality. No oral historian, however gifted, could possibly do justice to that unique case in which, by a mystery that will always exceed our understanding, the infinite entered a finite vehicle while not ceasing to be infinite. No one could capture that in its totality. However, what the four Gospels give us, cumulatively, adding them together, is enough to go on. It's enough to enable us to get hold of the basic character and the fundamental purposes of Jesus Christ, and therefore to get hold of the nature of the God who he both lived for as man and who, since from all eternity he has been the divine word, he also expressed. This year in the Roman lectionary, we are reading on Sundays from the third Gospel, the Gospel according to St. Luke. St. Luke will present the Saviour as the Messiah King, a king with a difference, a king for the poor, who at the Ascension will enter on his reign and manifest the royal power he receives from the Father, manifest it in the wonderful spread of his church against all the odds, against the wishes of principalities and powers. This year, we shall learn from St. Luke's perspective, but we shall do so without losing the perspectives of the other evangelists, or imagining that even when they are taken together, and even when taken together, they are read in the total tradition of the Church, they can exhaust the inexhaustible, exhaust the full riches of Christ.